One more time.
Hey, Luke, don't let me catch you fucking my crib on my pop your ass.
Respond.
What, nigga?
Respond.
Me?
Respond to him.
Hey, Luke, don't let me talk to you on camera.
Oh, so when you talking to me,
When he says that he gonna respond, when he responds, you respond how you will respond in the street. Go. Go.
Hey, Luke, don't let me catch you fucking my crib on my pop your ass.
nigga, do something. What's poppin', nigga? It ain't shit, bro. What up? It ain't shit. What up?
All right. 3, 2, 1.
We all gotta eat.
That was a good shot. I mean, y'all was posing like a motherfucker. I ain't want to say nothing. I ain't know what to say. Shit. It's one line. Should I say cut? All right, come on. Let's do it one more time.
One more time, y'all ready? Okay, come inside. Come inside. Real gang, real family. Y'all ready?
Absolutely.
Ready? Get it.
3, 2, 1.
We all gotta eat.
Vegan food. Let's go. I'm a vegan. The big vegan. Let's go. Look at the cast, the beautiful cast. We all gotta eat. Yes, sir. Yes, Lord.
Okay, man, I appreciate all y'all for coming out and bringing the love and the energy. And we're gonna be in touch with you, either me or Jay or Ozone gonna call, make sure y'all know the times, the rehearsals, anything y'all gonna need to do to make it happen, okay? Okay. Thank y'all for coming out. Thank you so much.
I appreciate y'all too. Yeah.
What up, though? Peace to everybody out there coming out. Peace to the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths. Peace to Cherry Luxur, Mafia. She in the house. Y'all know I got to get the goat head talking before we get the cracking in here, man. Check the goat head out for everybody that don't know. Now you know.
All right. Yo, this is Alpo, and I'm tapped in with my main man, Up for Debate TV all day. I fuck with him. Yes, sir. I appreciate you for that one.
And since this the late show, we checking in early morning, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get the intro out the way, get the goat head going, because we got a lot to get to tonight, man. I was very, very shocked and disappointed at the same time at a video that was released earlier today. So without further ado, let's get the intro cracking and let's get the rocking, man. Welcome to Detroit, man.
Detroit, that nigga ain't never take nothing. Detroit, I ain't never have nobody take nothing from me. I can promise you. You get a nigga talking about he took something from me, you gotta tell him to hold on, pause. Let me do the three-way right now, because I'm about to call Poe right now.
Yo, Poe made me a young goat head, nigga. What you know about it, dog? Shout out to the guys in the earths out there, man. I'm a young goat head, nigga. Who you know do it like me, man? I had to pat myself on the fucking back. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to me, man. I did this shit, nigga. I got to these people, man. Who you know did it like me as fast as I did, man? Got to this many legends, got these many people on tape, got these many people on screen, fucking with these many people. The ops, not the ops, everybody else, man. That's me, the young goat head. Ozone O, the ghost of Poe, nigga. You already know what it is, man. Shout out to the gang, man. Purple hearts in this thing. The ghost of Poe. The ghost of Poe, you heard it, man. I'm checking everybody, you feel me? And shit, I couldn't go without letting this shit right here get checked. You dig what I'm talking about? Cherry, you with me?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, she might not be with me yet. Okay, well, she in the house.
Can you hear me?
She in the house, though. Y'all see it. So, let me shout out everybody here with me, man. Let's see who in the house with me. Will Clinton, what up, though? Molly Malls, what up, though? Flash Lindsay, what up, though? Awesome friends, how you doing? So check it out. Today, my brother BTBTV, the King of New Jersey, BTBTV, born divine, Almighty Allah. He did an interview with a lady named Mother Spicker, or Spicker, Mother Star, some or the other. I believe she's a multi-talented woman. I mean, she's a rapper, she's a spiritual reader, I believe, a bunch of different things. You know what I'm saying? Hollywood, Glenwood, how you be? So, long story short, during this interview, she spoke, and this is why I say I was very disappointed and shocked at the same time. She spoke about someone else's intimate reading, someone's personal readings or whatnot. And I don't think that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that shit is very cool for somebody to, you know, if you go to a spiritual advisor, you go to get a spiritual reading, that's your personal shit. You know, without your authority, I don't think it's cool for them to do a public video on a platform like YouTube exposing what went on between the two of you during such reading, especially some shit like this. Now, I got some clips. I have a clip of the video. I'm gonna get to that first. There go my bro right there. Bam. A clip of his, not a clip, but the link to his video is in the description box. If you haven't seen it, you're not subscribed over there, go over there, check the video out, check the content out. You may love it, you might like it, you might subscribe to it. But whatever you do, make sure you check it out after you check this out so you can make sense of what I'm talking about if you don't know already. You dig what I'm talking about? Peace to the God. How you be, bro?
Can you hear
what
me?
I'm getting ready to do is run a clip from Born Divine Almighty Allah's channel right now, where he's discussing what went on between Mother Spicker, Mother of Star, and Mafia. What is that? Mr. G1001. Peace, Almighty. Peace, Lord. How you be? I appreciate you coming out and rocking with me. All wise and civilized, bro, as usual. That's what we are, right? That's what we were created to be. And that's what we teaching these lost ass young men out here. That's the way to go. You know what I'm saying? That's what we doing. Lamar Green, what it do with you, Mr. Green? I appreciate you coming out and rocking. I got to check in the chat real quick, man. I don't be doing the private chat in the background. Your mic's not working. You might have to come in and come back out. I don't know why I don't have you muted. Let me check you real quick. Let me check up on it real. The guest, bang, mute. Now let me unmute it, bang. Now, hello, can you say something?
Yeah, I'm speaking.
I just muted you and unmuted you. So you should be able to speak if it was muted. You may have to go out and come back in. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me clearly? Oh, they said they can hear you. I can't hear you.
They can hear me.
Don't forget to hit the like button, share, subscribe.
Okay.
We can hear her. Why can't I hear her then? Well, clearly I can't hear you, Cherry, for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear both of y'all. That's weird because I can't hear her at all. Let me see. Oh, I can't edit her mic volume. Let me see. Cherry, say something. I just turned your mic up all the way, and I still can't hear you. Wow. Pop back in real quick, Cherry, before I get this started. I don't know why I couldn't hear her. I'm hoping when she comes back in that all will be working well. Until then, let me run this clip from my brother's show earlier today when he interviewed the Spicker lady.
Show you the stuff.
Oh yeah, so I read her a couple times. And like I was saying, she confided in me, and I never came. I could tell. I'm gonna tell my story because you know. But I kept her secret. I didn't go out telling nobody that. Nobody knew that Alpo didn't sanction that page because everybody on the outside thought that's an official Alpo page. She ran it very well, and I would advise her behind the scenes on certain things or whatever. So what ended up happening was, like I said, this is October, like around Halloween 2020. I leveled up spiritually. You know what I'm saying? And I had got something called an EFI reading.
Yeah.
And so I was sharing with her my reading.
Yeah.
So, because she was always interested in wanting to know what was in them books.
Okay.
Okay. She had little pictures of certain things that I'm showing her inside the books. So she, you know, prior to reading, I told her, you're going to meet Alpo. And she did meet him. Okay. She posted a picture up the night she met him. So she told me she was sitting with him, was sitting with Alpo talking about me, this, that, and the third. So, so later on, when she want to know about the books, I just told her, said, listen, I'm on a journey to find my husband. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being guided by my books and where I'm supposed to be at. I'm being guided, and I'm just, you know, I'm watching this shit manifest. You know what I'm saying? So, that bothered Cherry because Cherry was in love with Alpo.
Okay.
Willing to do whatever, even front like this an Alpo page to get Alpo attention.
Yeah.
Get my point?
Cherry, speak to me.
I don't know if you hear me or not.
You got your earphones in, Cherry? You got your headphones in, Cherry?
I took it off, but that didn't work either. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to.
Scotland back in the building.
Out of there.
Say Scotland. Scotland, BK in the building. House of Pole Army. What up, though? Scottish Dank 420. What up, though, man? Don't put that K after that B, boy. Bad move. You heard? Don't put that K after that B, boy. Bad move. I feel you. That where you from, though. She choppy now. I don't understand it. I think she got her. I can't hear her at all, folks. You know what I'm saying? I might have to switch devices or something, man. Let me see. I'm about to get into the studio, but that was a clip from Bro. Now, I also was able to get a clip from her personal channel via Bro or whatnot, where she put up some different information in regards to the same thing. And I know we all out here looking for what happened and trying to search for it, but in my mind, at a certain point, it looks like somebody is pointing fingers or drawing conclusions for themselves, man. Now, I'm not quite sure how the spirits work and the guides and all of that stuff is as according to the cards, you know, the tarot card readings and, you know, different situations and whatnot. But that doesn't seem to be pretty cool in my book. And that's all I can say. But check this out for a second, guys.
I know they ain't just say somebody was going to light Poe ass up. That's what they said. Sis, I told you something about in that reading that better be careful, sis. You should be very careful. Also, that's a 908 number. Yeah, that's a 908 number. That's a Jersey number. Wait a minute. Did the man hear your voice and know that you're a woman? Or do they think it's Alpo behind? Well, your name is up there. Like, do he know he talking to a female? Threatening you on the phone? Then in reality, he's making a threat to Alpo. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's pretty deep. I feel like, I don't know. Be careful, sis.
I'm gonna run that back one more time. Cherry, say something.
Can you hear me? Oh,
Nah, I can hear you on this one.
okay.
Okay, let me get up.
Hear me too?
You a little bit choppy, but I can hear you now on this device I'm on now.
Is this a little bit better? I'm a little closer to the phone.
Do you have your headphones on or you have your headphones off?
My headphones are off.
Put them on now and let me see if I can hear you better on the device I'm on with the headphones on.
Okay.
We're trying to get it together, guys. My apologies.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, can the chat hear me clearly or is it still choppy?
It's better, but it's still a little bit choppy. Let me take my other self off the broadcast or whatnot. And then let's see how it goes. Bang. And shut this one down. Hello?
Yeah.
All right, we're just gonna have to work with it. At least I got you here or whatnot. We we already in here late and everything. She was still choppy. Is there a way you can change your mic source? That's what was in the comments. I'm a pin bang. That was in the comments. Am I choppy? Can you guys hear me?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but yeah, it was still a little bit choppy. Can you guys hear me? Am I choppy? Truth comes through loud and clear.
What's it about that?
Okay. Miss Dickinson said we can hear Odin fine. That's what's up. Okay. Okay. So now you good. What you saying nah to? It's two people. Nah, you good? Two people saying three people saying I'm clear, and you saying nah. You saying nah to her? I was falling asleep. Nah, I'm wide awake. Miss Brown, how you be? Appreciate you for coming out and rocking. Cherry, you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
You can hear me. Okay.
Is there anything you wanted to say before I got ready to run your clips? Because a link to Cherry's video, I had to break it up into pieces because of the way StreamYard is. But a link to her video where you can run it in full success is on her channel and in the description box under Cherry Luxur.
You know what? I do have that you are clever. She's picking up. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. Oh, I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to type it in the chat. I'm not gonna have a choice because I'm having the audio source right now. If I got my laptop, maybe, but it take me a minute. So maybe you should show the video.
You are clear, but she is breaking up. Well, I'm not sure why she's breaking up, guys. You guys said she was fine at first. She's breaking up just a bit to me as well.
I still been up. Oh,
Say that again for me, please.
I said I'm still breaking up.
Yes, it's kind of yes, ma'am. You are.
Okay, yeah, ain't nothing to do about that unless I get my laptop. So if you wanna play the clip, and I'll try to get
Let's
my
try this one
laptop.
more time. Cherry, I'm on a new device now, so let's try one more time. I'm gonna kick you from the stream,
pop back in, and you might come in loud and clear. Come in the same way you did in the beginning, because evidently you were loud and clear to them when I couldn't hear you at all. But being that I'm on a new device now and I can hear you, try to come back in the same way you did initially from the jump, and let's see if that works right before I get into running the clips. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me see. Kick Brown, studio back. Kick us. Okay. She'll be right back. Let's run that video from Spicker again real quick so you guys can see what she was saying, because I'm not sure if it was breaking up while I was switching devices or not, because it was on my end. So I'm gonna run that again, right?
I couldn't really hear what they were saying. What that conversation about? I know they ain't just say somebody was gonna light Poe ass up. That's what they said. Sis, I told you something about in that reading that better be careful, sis. You should be very careful. Also, that's a 908 number. Yeah, that's a 908 number. That's a Jersey number. Wait a minute. Did the man hear your voice and know that you're a woman? Or do they think it's Alpo behind? Well, your name is up there. Like, do he know he talking to a female? Threatening you on the phone? Then in reality, he's making a threat to Alpo. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's pretty deep. I feel like, I don't know. Be careful, sis.
Now, the whole premise of me making this particular video right here is because at the end of the video, at the end of the interview with my brother, toward the end, she goes on to basically, I don't want to say point the finger, but to insinuate that Cherry could have possibly set Poe up for this. And you know what's crazy about this is the reading is over a year old. She got a reading for her or from her over a year ago or whatnot. And I guess within the reading, the lady that read it saw that Cherry would set Poe up or could set him up or something like that. And I thought that was crazy for her to come out and release that type of information right now while everyone is looking for the person that supposedly done this to Poe in the first place. So you're going to come out and put out some information like that, insinuating that this lady has something to do with it when everybody is saying that there's a setup chick involved in it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said.
Can you hear me, Oh?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear.
Okay, here we go. Here we
You
go.
have the mic. You have the microphone.
I want to say this. I met Mary through this entire process of starting my Poe Mafia page. Okay. This chick is mad because she had a connection with Randy. And she had told me that she had been trying to get to Alpo for years. This is what she told me. And that Randy had not made the connection to Poe. I had told her that someone had given me Poe's number. If you watch the clips that O is about to play, you'll come to better understand what was actually happening. And yes, it had to be as long as it was because I needed y'all to understand where my head was and why I even went to her in the first place. She's upset that I got closer to him than she ever could. So now I don't even know when exactly was the last time I spoke to her, but I actually cut her off because she claimed that she was supposed to be the person marrying Alpo. Now, I didn't really care about that, but my whole thing was this. I've been getting readings from you this whole time. You mean to tell me you've been lying to me this whole time, telling me I'm going to have this connection with him through these readings? And now I done told you what happened between us. You knew intimate information about the situation, and you wait until now to tell me that you are actually his wife. I got both free and paid readings from her. The first reading I ever got from her was free because she had posted that she was giving away free readings. And that's the reason why I contacted her. So watch the video. I answer all possible questions in this video. I've been down and loyal since day one. I ain't switched up. I ain't said shit. I could have said a whole lot of things when I shut Po Mafia down. I didn't bother because that would have defeated the purpose of the page. So, I don't have anything else to say unless people got some questions after this video. I'm silent.
I appreciate you coming out because I really, like I said, I didn't know, and I remember you asking me, did I know about the interview? I didn't know till I woke up this morning. I didn't even know she was gonna be on Bro Shit. To be honest with you, I watched his interview with a dude named Chris Style this morning, and he did a double interview evidently because she wound up on the show, and I saw it, and I said, wow, you know, I got to talk to Cherry about this because I didn't understand whether or not she was trying to point the finger or what was the purpose of the information, you know, being that this had happened and the reading. And I have a question before we run these clips. Did you know that she continued to read you after your initial readings with her without your permission?
I had no knowledge of that at all. And you know what's interesting? After I cut her off and I disconnected from Instagram, from YouTube, from any other platform that I might have been friends with her on, and this was like the very end of 2020, I knew she might have started some trouble because I'm sure her feelings were hurt after that. But she was hating. She was. So with a lot of people.
I lost contact with her because, well, not even lost contact. I never had contact with her, really. She followed me on Instagram. And she fell off the map. Like, all of a sudden, she wasn't there anymore. Like, I don't know what happened. You know, people do that all the time, though, so I didn't think one thing or the next. But I know Bro has a connection with her that dates back some time. You know, I asked him, you know, what's up? You know, how y'all do this and that and the other? And he told me he had a connection with her that dates back to him getting out of prison, I believe, or whatnot, or getting out of the feds or something like that. So I don't know. I believe that's how the interview came about. But when I received that information, and then I also have your reading, and I refuse to put it on screen because, like I said, I feel like that's an invasion of privacy, and it shouldn't be. You shouldn't be exposing this personal shit about people, especially if they came to you in confidence for something as personal as that. Do you agree? Being that you're a spirit reader yourself. I mean, a tarot card reader, whatever I don't know what to call it. Y'all are readers. You know?
Okay. Technically speaking, people call it tarot, right? Or an oracle reader, right? I just consider myself a spiritualist. But let me say this. Matter of fact, I know you're going to play this in the clip, but I just want y'all to think about something because I know a couple people said, you know, they tired, they were about to go to bed. I want y'all to think about this. O posted a video of me talking about some issues I was having in my house and the fact that I ended up homeless. So you mean to tell me I had enough money to put a hit out on Poe, but I didn't have enough money to get myself off the street?
Word. I didn't even think like that.
That shit don't make no sense. How much money would it take to put a hit out on Poe? Who would do that shit right now? Come on, y'all. Y'all got to think.
Now, let me flip the coin on you on that particular. Now, when I heard it and I analyzed it for myself, I thought collect a bounty, not necessarily put a hit, because everybody heard that there was a bounty. I don't know if everyone heard, but a few people had been saying that there was still an open ticket on Poe, and that was mainly why he needed to be so careful traveling in public and being so public as of late the way he was. Now, when I first heard that there was a woman that did it and that it could possibly be you and this and that and the other, and the situation that you just named, that you were off your feet in a sense because of whatever happened, I thought, ding, 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 collect the bounty. She turned him in for the bounty. But then I had to think about our relationship personally, how long I've been kicking it with you and what I know of you. And that didn't fit the description of the Cherry I know. So I couldn't swallow that pill. You see where I'm coming from?
You know what? Oh, I 100% get what you're trying to say. But honestly, it don't add up. It don't.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
The whole story don't add up. Why would she wait? If she predicted that he was going to be killed, why didn't she tell Randy this before? She had contact with him, and so did I. Randy was still talking to me via DM. So what would have been the point of him still being connected to me at that time if she had predicted this and told him about it? There's a lot to this that don't add up.
Okay. Well, let's get the clips are broken down into like 2 minutes and some change or whatnot about that. It's about 10 of them. We're going to get to all of them. So once one clip, if you want to say something at the end of a clip, you're welcome to. If not, we'll just run them through and then we'll discuss it.
Hold on. Oh, just one more thing. King of New Jersey. We both supposed to be a part of so-called umbrella gang, right? I realize you have a relationship with Mary. But if me and you were both a part of the same gang and she made an accusation like this, you should have came to me and said something. That way I could have addressed it. Me and you ain't never had no beef. The most beef we ever had was you said something to me in the chat one day and I ignored you because I wasn't even going to go there with you. I had already bigged up Poe. I got a whole page on him. I knew the direction that I was going in. It didn't make any sense. And now here you are in this chat. You done known this woman. She done been saying all kinds of stuff. Why you didn't say nothing before today?
Well,
so, you can go ahead.
Yeah. You know what? I got to call a spade because I do think this is a very dangerous thing that happened. That's why I told you, I typed in caps on Instagram. You need to look at this. We need to get ahead of this because that shit is dangerous. You know, it's like pointing the finger your direction. Like that's the chick right there, the way I look at it. And that's why I'm glad I got a chance to get you here to clear this shit up and get ahead of it. All right, first clip. We're getting into the first clip. This is also, the link is in the description box. If you don't want to wait for us to do these clips like this, go look at her video and then come back and I guess wait for the commentary.
I'm mad that I even have to come on here and talk about this right now, but I'm going to. I want y'all to think about something. A lot of you know what was going on in my household because O reposted a video. Okay. This video detailed how I was having some issues with someone in my household and that I ended up homeless. I even put up on my Instagram a whole series of videos. Whole series of videos from me in the street giving spiritual messages. Because I happen to be on a spiritual journey. And I'll connect that in a minute. I would have enough money to put a hit out on Albert, but not enough money to get myself out of the street. Think about that, y'all. Let me be clear. I loved that man. And even after everything, I still love that man. This was so much more than just a page for me.
My connection to him is a spiritual connection to him. Way above all of this bullshit. But in order for you to understand it, and how I came across this woman named Mary, who is now accusing me of setting him up, I would have to take you back to the beginning of the story. So at the beginning of February 2020,
Clip 2, getting ready to run.
I got a message, clear message from God, to do a little bit more research on the paid in full story. I had lightly researched it before. Didn't interest me at that time. But this time was different. I then come across Alberto Martinez. I started looking into his story, and I discovered what a lot of folks who support O's page and who supported Po Mafia back then also knew. That the story was being skewed because it was coming from one particular camp. And that's all I'm going to say. It was leaning on their end of it because Albert was not online. He had no online presence at the time. So after doing all of this research and really becoming passionate about the story, even coming across O's page, because he was supporting who I felt was the underdog and I could relate to that story, I got another intuitive message to start a page. So I put up Po Mafia, and like water, information was coming to me. Information that people did not have. Stuff like crews that he was associated with in his childhood. Information that wasn't out there about him being a breakdancer and him being a boxer. Him being associated with some of the folks from Zulu Nation. All that information was poured out on me. Even making connections with the person who eventually connected me to Albert. But we ain't gonna go that far yet.
Wow. She just fucked me up because I fucked up. I was talking shit about a psychic reader, and she was talking about Poe's spirit been with her since the 31st of October, since he passed, basically. And she said that he had connections to the Zulu Nation. She said that. And for Cherry to say that in that video like that, I'm reevaluating what the fuck I was thinking about this other lady that I'm not going to say her name, but I thought she was batshit. You know what I'm saying? She batshit crazy. Like, what the fuck? What you mean? But God, man, I just had to say that real quick.
Hold on. Can I just respond to this?
Yes.
I want to make something clear. I'm not giving that chick no air time. She can't get none of my time. See, one of the things you learn on a spiritual awakening journey is how to invest your energy. She's extremely toxic, and she's upset because she couldn't get to him. Let me ask you something. For those of you who may not believe what I believe in spiritually, and that's fine. I respect people's religious beliefs and their spiritual beliefs, and I expect people to respect mine. But at the end of the day, if God really wanted her to have a connection with Poe, she would have made her own connection with him. She would not have needed Randy. She would not have needed anybody. God would have made that way for her, or the universe, or whomever you believe in. There's a reason why she was blocked from it. So y'all can believe whatever y'all want, but I know I stand on my 10 toes. And that's it.
You know, I'm not going to say that. I'm not the type of person that divulges that information, but I believe I believe in magic. I believe in light magic, and I believe in dark magic. And I know that woman knows dark magic. And that's all I'm going to say about that shit. And I'm not concerned with it because I do too. I was into all of that shit as well. I'm not anymore. But we had an intimate conversation when we were speaking via the Instagram chat or whatever you want to call it. And shit, I know some things. Well, I know what she told me at least, and I know what I told her.
Okay, you won't say it. Let me say it then. Absolutely. Let me explain the basics of what dark magic is. Dark magic is going against anyone's free will for the wrong reasons. Wishing bad on someone can be considered dark magic. But then there are people who are much more advanced and they use all kinds of materials to put their spell work into place. That woman in particular, this is the thing about a spiritual awakening. Again, I'm going back to it for a reason. You have to awaken to who you are and who you are to the universe. This woman told me that she got a reading from someone else and allowed them to convince her that she could not get married without the person dying or having some kind of stroke of bad luck. She actually allowed someone to convince her of that. She said it was an IFA reading. So I was fully aware of what type of person she was towards the end, and that is why I cut her off, because she did not reveal any of that in the beginning.
Let me tap in for a second and ask you this, because this is plaguing my mind. Why does a reader need a reader? Why would a reader need a reader? Why wouldn't you be able to read yourself, or not even read yourself, just have the intuitive powers to, know what's coming your way?
Well, that I explained in the video, but I'm gonna break it down again here. At the time, I didn't know anything about this world. I was already on a spiritual journey. I had been a Christian. I had gone to being a Hebrew Israelite because I was studying the Bible much deeper. And then I became a spiritualist. But as far as tarot reading and things like that, I came across it when I was very, very young. But it frightened me, so I never got into it. But it definitely came back around later on for me. This is how all of this is connected. That's why I said Albert and I were a spiritual connection. He was supposed to kick off my awakening. There's a thing called triggering. And what happens is you start to feel a kind of way when someone says something or does something to you that reminds you of past trauma, past pain, perhaps a relationship that went bad in the past that you have not healed. Those things have a tendency to make you look inward. Now you're questioning yourself. If you watch the entire video, I promise it'll make sense because I did break this down. But at the time, I didn't know anything about intuition. I didn't know anything really about spell work. I had heard some of the stuff. And after I stopped getting readings from her, I then went elsewhere because I was not about to let someone lie to me and pay them at the same time. But don't worry, y'all will get it.
One more question before I get back into two more questions, actually. How many clips did I run? 2 or 3?
You did 2.
Okay. Second question. Is it your impression now that she was giving you false readings knowingly because she wanted to get to Alpo herself or be with Alpo herself?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I believe that what she told me the last time that we spoke was to, number 1, piss me off. Number 2, agitate me. Because again, she knew the whole story. She knew how I was connected to him. She knew I had his information. She knew I was talking to him. I was telling her the struggle because I really was under the impression that I could trust her ass. And then she turns around and puts a reading online with somebody who's supposed to be in the same crew as me. I find that real interesting.
I didn't mean to laugh, but I feel you.
It's called being used.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's definitely a way you look at that. Okay, so let's get third. I'm getting ready to run the third clip, guys. Here we go.
Every time I did any research on him, I ended up coming into contact with what felt like a spirit around me. For a long time, I thought I was going crazy. And that's how I came across Mary. Mary was a supporter of O's page. And I met her on Instagram. We became Facebook friends. And I saw one day that she had readings, that she was giving away some. So I went ahead and I inquired about the spirit that I kept feeling around me. And I just wanted some confirmation that it was, in fact, what I already intuitively knew it was. But I wasn't hip to intuition at that time. She proceeds to tell me yes, to confirm a lot of things that I believed at that time. And she even told me that there would be a personal connection between him and I. Even between all the back and forth and the conversations that we had, even told me that it would go even as far as a wedding, a marriage. That I would either be in one or attending one, as she put it. I was a bit confused by that statement, but fast forward to now, we all will see exactly what that was. Meanwhile, I'm still putting together the page, putting it up, starting to get some traction on it, putting some ads on O's channel on YouTube, putting some ads on Instagram, trying to attract a lot of the folks who were on his hashtag. I did not like or appreciate the way that they were painting the picture of him because he followed a pattern. He followed a very clear pattern. And the evidence was out there. But for whatever reason, no one was talking about it except for O at the time. He was bringing stuff up as I was finding out about stuff as well. That is one of the reasons why I even gravitated to his page and ended up meeting Mary. Mind you, throughout this process, she's still telling me about this personal connection that I'm going to have with him. Now let's fast forward. I'm starting to recognize the people around him are moving a little funny. He even confirmed that some of his individuals in his circle were telling him to sue me, which I was shocked about, and I even said to him, there are pages right now that get paid lots of money for talking shit about you, and there are a lot of them. But your people would suggest you sue me, the only person who's on Instagram right now really defending you? Really? I knew then that people did not want to see this union happen because it had already been predicted that we would end up coming together and we'd make a hell of a lot of money on that page. And that's why I continue to persist. I didn't start actually talking to Albert until July of 2020. His number was dropped in my lap. When I tell you that I understood that God was involved in this situation, I knew. Because people were dropping information on me way too easy. And that, even that, came easy for me. See, Mary couldn't get past Randy, aka Paparazzi Poe. Told told me she was connected to him, that she had a whole bunch of books on Albert's story and some energetic stuff in the background, and that she had been trying to get that information to him. But Randy had yet to introduce them. Interesting how I was connected to Randy. I didn't have his personal number, never met him in person, but I managed to get to Albert without needing Randy's help. Now you tell me what that looks like. Okay. So I start talking to Albert. We start talking about the page, a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like I told you, he even told me about people who thought he should sue me. Imagine that. When I was offering him 50% of Po Mafia and everything that I was making with Po Mafia. In 2 weeks' time, this man unraveled me. Because while, yes, I adored him, at the time, I had an interest personally, but it was more about the business. Because I really felt like he should have been the one telling his story. And I wanted to help him because perhaps he didn't understand how to set the situation up. So I would take care of the technical side, and all he had to do was show up to record. I was willing to do all the other work. But he, unfortunately, because he really couldn't see the vision, treated me more like we had a situationship going on. Like a chick who had slept with him too fast. And I could tell that he was accustomed and used to treating women that way. That he had a bit of narcissistic tendencies, a bit in his ego, but I expected that because I knew how many women really loved him. A lot of them who didn't. But a lot of them were attracted to him too, right? So I knew that women probably came easy to him. So I made it my mission not to make that what I was going after. Even though I did like him. It grew and it developed into something much, much deeper. And I came to understand that, yes, it is a spiritual connection. So we're talking on and off for about 2 months. Almost every other night, either via text or on the phone. I'm telling him what's going on, what's happening, stuff that he should be aware of. He ghosted me the first 2 times that we were supposed to meet. He met me the 3rd time, and that's when I posted the picture up. There were people that he said had to be at this meeting. I didn't really trust any of the people around him at the time, because why weren't they explaining to him that he could get on here and kill this shit himself? That he could be the one making money off of the story or doing something else, but that he's a personality and people like him, believe it or not. My only mission in the whole thing was to show him the potential of the situation and let him know the light that people saw in him. Not the ones who call him a rat and don't fuck with him and all of that stuff. Later for all that. His impact on culture. And something else I'm going to get into in a minute. September, we stopped talking. Just as quickly as I met him. Not even a whole week later, I cut contact. Because he started acting a little different with me. At least that's what it seemed. And he wasn't really communicating what was going on. So I figured somebody either had his attention or he didn't really want to do Po Mafia. And I even went as far as to tell him that he could have Po Mafia. I'd give him all the passwords to Instagram, to YouTube, to my website. I'd even train the person that he picks to replace me. He could have it because it was not about money. Even though I wanted to make money, I knew the mission was more important than my ego. So I offered him the company. So where that part of the story for her is coming in, I have no clue. Because I told her ass a lot of this shit too. November of 2020 kicked off my spiritual awakening. And what is a spiritual awakening? It's when you come to realize that you are a spirit before you are a body, and how connected to the universe you are. You awaken to your soul. Soul meaning who you were prior to the world telling you who to be. Who you were prior to the trauma in your childhood, prior to maybe damaging relationships that have had lasting impressions on you. You learn how to love your authenticity. So this was a spiritual connection. He was supposed to kick off my spiritual awakening by triggering me. And I knew I also triggered him. Meanwhile, I'm still talking back and forth with Mary. And she's still talking about this personal connection and marriage and all of this shit.
Pardon self.
Though sporadic. This man and I never even slept together. We met once, but we talked a hell of a lot on the phone and through text messages. Some of them which I still have. Me going on to set him up would defeat the purpose of everything that I had done and worked for. I wasn't trying to throw that shit away. My entire hope was that we would eventually come together and maybe he would really give me some actual answers and understanding as to what happened back then and why he couldn't, because I 100% knew he could deny it and say he doesn't want to participate. I didn't have no problem with him saying no to Mafia. But it was the way in which he handled it that I didn't like and didn't sit with me well and actually really hurt me. I had to heal from that connection. I wasn't going to come on and tell all of this because that would have defeated the purpose of Mafia. The whole point was to change the perspective on him. And before I even address her, I'm hurt right now that there's a possibility that he really is gone because I'm still questioning that. And that we may never come to fix a lot of what was broken in that situation. Set him up. Mary, I'm going to pray for you. I am. For you to come online and make accusations that heavy on me simply because I got closer to him than you did, simply because after you said that bullshit, I cut your ass off.
Change the stuff.
I hope you heal that.
Pardon self.
I hope you heal that shit. Because let me tell you something. You don't heal it, baby girl, it's going to eat you alive. And it ain't going to affect nobody else but you. And I'm done talking.
All right. Peace to the chat. Peace to Cherry Luxur, aka or X. I don't know how to say that. Mafia. Was Mafia. She is Cherry Luxur. She is my spiritual reader. That's why this is so important to me and was when I ran across that interview and obtained the information. I said, no, this is not the woman I know. And this is not the way the woman I know would do business, period. Like, that shit is crazy, man. So let's see.
Can I interject for a second?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
There was a part of the video. I'm not sure if maybe that clip ended up missing or whatever, where I made a suggestion to Albert to be a motivational speaker. We had disconnected September of 2020. November 2020 was my spiritual awakening. I think I reconnected with him maybe sometime in March or April of this year. And we talked on and off sporadic up until I found out that he passed. So they say. Just to let you know, right now, if you go on Instagram and you do a search of his hashtag, there is a gentleman who made a post, and I gotta find it. I'm gonna tell you his name. Hold on. He made a post about the fact that Albert was taking a different turn and direction in which he was going. He told me he had gotten an offer for a podcast because I explained to him that, yes, while the drugs and the money and all of that shit was appealing to people, and that's what initially attracted them, that's not what kept them. What kept them is the fact that he knew how to talk. He knew how to tell a story. He knew how to break down information and drop knowledge on people. So that was the suggestion that I made to him. And he was already getting signs of that in his own spiritual walk. I'm not sure what this guy's name is. I think it's something Roberson. I'm still trying to find it. I definitely did a screenshot of it because I wanted to send. And you know what? Oh, I'm going to send it to you so that you can go ahead and talk about that if you'd like to. If you don't, it's all good. Again, Po Mafia is over for me as far as I'm concerned, because I knew I had to love myself more than the ghosting that he was doing to me at the time. I had to love myself more than being willing to accept him not really committing to the situation and making a whole bunch of promises that he didn't keep at the time. And I knew women came easy to him. So I knew it might have been a little bit of a struggle to get him to focus on the business side of the situation. But I've been rocking with y'all for so long. The fact that anybody would take that, put it on their channel, and never have a conversation with me is amazing. Not to mention their integrity is already in question because they're putting a personal reading that I had and telling it to the whole damn world. That's like me taking the clients that I've had and putting their information out there. I 100% was okay with him saying no to it. That was never the issue. I just really wanted him to know that he had the potential to be as big as he was in the 80s, more so now because you got 80s babies paying attention to you. And a whole nother avenue, not even having to deal with the streets or drugs or any of those things. That could have been a whole nother, like I literally sent him flyers that I made to give him some type of vision of what the situation was. He could have been a Les Brown. He could have been a Stormy Wellington. He could have been all of those great motivational speakers, but in his own way, even if it was talking about street life. And he had already told me he was in sync with that. So he knew that I was actually getting messages from God. I absolutely was. And it's whatever you call it, the universe, spirit, whatever. So the people who want to, say in the chat that I was trying to make money off of him and blah, 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 so be it, if that's what you want to believe. I don't think a person who cared about all of that would have offered their entire company and everything that they had worked for up until that point, just give it away. I didn't have no problem with backing out of the situation because I more so wanted to see him continue to win. There was way too much negativity on the internet about him and no one that was really speaking his side except for O and myself. And wouldn't it have been amazing if he could have been involved telling his own story or the way he wanted to tell it? Now, maybe he didn't want to do that. I don't know. Maybe he was more wrapped up in other things in his life. whatever. All I knew is I was worth more, and I backed up and I focused on me. So now for this woman to come along and make these type of accusations and run my reputation into the ground with this shit, and some folks think that's okay, don't worry. The universe is going to deal with that. And guess what? Karma don't miss an address. And that's all I got to say at this point about it.
I personally, I'm not going to piggyback off what you said. It was well said. I personally didn't know that you were selling Po Mafia shirts. I received a picture. Well, I did know that you were selling Po Mafia shirts. I did not know that you were selling shirts with Alberto Martinez on them, or his image or his name or anything like that. I received a picture of this particular woman that we're speaking about today in one of those said shirts or whatnot. And it shocked me because, as I spoke to you earlier and told you, at one point, Po did ask me, what's up with this Po Mafia and the t-shirt thing? But at that particular point, I had a heat press of my own, and I was selling t-shirts off and on or whatnot, Team Alpo shirts or whatnot. So I began to talk to him about who you were, who I knew you were at the time, and about the t-shirts. And he didn't say anything to differentiate it. Like, he didn't make it plain that he meant you or me. But I felt like he meant me because I didn't know you were doing that. Now, how long had you been doing that at the time? Because I was unaware that you were making money. That was another accusation that came up during me not investigating, but during this information coming to me, that she was making a bunch of money off of Alpo and he didn't know it, and he was upset about that. What do you have to say about that?
First of all, I just said I was inspired to create that page. It was meant to be a representative of him online. So yes, I did have t-shirts. The t-shirt in particular that Mary purchased did have his name on it. And I figured after I made it and I made that sale, that he might not be too crazy about his actual name being on it. So I changed the design. Anyone who bought that shirt had it, and they got a special edition because the entire design changed after that, and it only said Po Mafia. So yes, I did make money. Why would I take him something that was not profitable? Why would I take him something that wasn't financially beneficial to him? And I wasn't unwilling to offer him money for it. We had a whole conversation about it. And I still confronted him with it even after making those shirts. The first question, let me tell you the first conversation I had with Po. He said, "You weren't scared?" I said, "No." This man asked me that at least 3 times. "You weren't scared? You sure?" I said, "No. I never believed you were the monster under the bed that everybody was trying to make you out to be. And if you are, then tell me that's a different story." And we laughed about it. This is what led to the conversation about someone in his camp telling him to sue me. And I'm like, how? When I'm one of the few people, 1 out of 2, it was just me and you, for a long time.
Absolutely.
Talking positively about him. Didn't have a negative thing to say about him. Telling people that he wasn't the person that they thought he was. And then I would turn around and just take the money all for myself. Yeah, I was making thousands of dollars in the situation, and I was just keeping it all to myself. That's not how that worked out. I did sell some of the shirts that I had on that website. It was successful, but I wasn't making a large amount of money with that. But I did take it to him, and I didn't want to invest anymore. I'm not a rich chick, okay? Well, I'm a rich chick now in spirit, right? But I'm not a person who has $1 million in the bank. So I'm a mother. I'm taking my own hard-earned money, and I'm investing it. I spent way more than I made. I lost money in that situation personally. And to him, it would have been all gains because he didn't have to put any money in for that. So where y'all are coming from, this is amazing to me because I have not deviated from how I feel about him. I have had some beef with him about some of the narcissistic tendencies, but I have said since the beginning I love that man, and I still feel the exact same way. So I don't know what else to say to that.
Narcissistic tendencies. Can you explain that for me? Because I've heard that a few different times in regards to Poe, and I'd just like to hear it from someone that I know has the same like-minded individual as I am, to say the least. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Let me explain what that really breaks down to meaning in the spiritual world. Okay. Hold on, I'm sorry. I was reading what O just posted. Very true. But anyway, narcissistic tendencies meaning a person happens to be operating more from their ego than their heart space. Clearly, right? A person has to have some amount of ego, right? Because ego is what allows us to have confidence, and to accomplish anything great, you need that. But there is a point that goes beyond just the normal or basics. And a lot of times there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of attitude, there's a lot of frustration. Hold on, keep it 100. You knew when you made those shirts you was going to get paid. Yes. Wasn't that the point? I'm sorry, I'm confused. I ain't never had no issues with you, so I don't really understand what you're saying, but okay. We can go with that if that's what you want. But I already told you I offered him the company. Where's the dispute in that?
Hey, Skrilla, you said if you eating off him, his name is kind of disrespectful. Not if he don't say so. A lot of people said that same shit to me in the beginning, even though they didn't even like him. I hope you paying him. Oh, he must be paying you then, or this and that and the other. Poe ain't never said it was disrespectful for me to use his name, likeness, or even speak about him. And I can just imagine he ain't never said that to Cherry either. You know what I'm saying?
And
what did he say?
And I just got finished saying I spent more money than I made. Do you understand that? Oh, you can attest to this. How much money goes into blogging? Do you understand how much money actually is spent on apps, on taking off logos from different editing software that you might be using? How much advertising costs? I had ads on Instagram and I had ads on YouTube. Okay, you can call it keeping it 100, but the reality of the situation is, why would I take him a business that he couldn't make money off of? I had to prove that it could make money. What other way was I going to do that? That's just the reality. But anyway, going back to what you said, I'm going to start ignoring the comments that you're posting because that's distracting me a little bit. And that's no offense to nobody.
Stop posting if you want. I don't want to ignore my comments or whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
No. I just said I gotta focus on the answer that I have to give you. So you asked me about narcissistic tendencies.
Yes, ma'am.
So it has a tendency to be angry, and a lot of times it's geared towards the opposite sex, or whatever parent, let's say, a person might have struggled with in their childhood. It usually comes from childhood trauma. Okay? It's almost like an overinflated ego. So sometimes he would say certain things to me that weren't all that nice. And then there was other times he'd be sweet as pie. And then there was a time where he actually yelled at me. And I have never had a man, not even my own damn daddy, nor my ex-husband, ever yell at me in the same manner that he yelled at me in. But I understood there was probably other things going on. And again, there was a lot of things that were said behind the scenes that let me know, okay, yeah, you're feeling yourself. You have absolute reason to. And I'm pretty sure all the love and attention that people are giving you is wonderful, right? But you don't have to be aggressive with me because I'm not your enemy. I'm just here to present you with something that someone in your camp should have already told you. Why would you have to understand also, these same individuals were also posting pictures of him, and they had recent pictures of him. Okay. Why wasn't he doing it? Because as I was having conversations with him, he never told me that they ever said these dudes were making money off of him online. And they were making a whole lot more, but for talking negatively about him. I had a lot of folks who actually knew him who were following me. And something else I got to clear up about something Mary said. I never gave the impression that Poe sanctioned the page. Never. There were folks who were following Poe Mafia who knew there was a woman behind the page. I even went as far as to put my name in the bio, and folks were still coming at me because they were not bothering to read. So I went from putting my name in the bio to putting it in each post, so there would never be any confusion. That was the reason why I didn't mess with that Alpo official page, because he was actually attempting to pretend to be Poe versus having a fan page or a representative page about him. So it was never like that. It really wasn't. You know, and all I can't even say at this point because it's so far removed. This was in 2020. We're at the end of 2021. Why is this just now coming up if that was the case? And if you really cared about Alpo and you really believed that you were going to marry him, why didn't you tell Randy about me supposedly wanting to set him up if you had that information already? That's the part that's crazy to me. No one ever confronted me saying, hey, what are you doing? And honestly, Poe at any point could have told me to take the page down. He never told me to take the page down.
Why didn't you tell Alpo about the reading?
The reading that I got with her?
The reading saying he would be killed. That's what she said. She said she basically told you that he would be something, he would be killed. That's why she came out now. You said, why did this come out now? Well, he was just murdered. And she said that in her reading, I believe to you, that a woman would set him up. He would be set up by a woman and killed and this and that and the other. Is that correct or no?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Because I didn't bother watching her video because I already knew she was lying. I know where the hell I was October 31st. October 30th was my mother's birthday. I happened to be here with my son, and he happened to be here that night. October 31st came, and then shit just went crazy after you told me about him potentially being killed or murdered, right? Because we were going back and forth in DM. So the whole thing, and honestly, if anybody who was actually paying attention to my Instagram page know, I kind of shut down for a little while because I couldn't even believe something wasn't right about the whole thing. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if I 100% believe that he's dead. It's either he's dead or somebody put a hit out on him and it was a professional hit. How much does a fucking professional hit cost? I don't even know.
Neither do I. I never had any knowledge about how much professional hit costs.
You know what? I realize that to some people this might sound crazy because they don't necessarily believe in the spirituality I believe in. But let me tell you something. This was 100% a real thing for me. I can't say what it is or what it's going to look like to anyone else. I can only tell you what was happening with me. And if you go through my Instagram page right now, you will see the growth that I've had from the time I started Cherry Luxur page until now. All the healing that I had to do. And it wasn't just about Poe, but he definitely helped to kick that off. And I started the page because I knew at that time I was going to have to pull myself away from Poe Mafia because he wasn't committing to it. And I wasn't about to spend more money and invest more money in something that was not going to take off. If it was making that much money and he was on board, I would have kept it going. But it was supposed to be representative of him. That's why I shut it down. So unless people come forward who were around at that time, who knew what was going on, who knew I was clear on being a separate person and entity from Alpo, there's nothing I can do but tell you guys my truth. And it is what it is. I trust that Spirit is going to work this situation out, because that's a pretty heavy accusation to make on somebody. It really is.
Absolutely. It's a dangerous one, because as many people hated him, that's what I kept trying to get across to folks. You got many people that hated him, but you got just as many people that love that dude and might do something dumb behind a motherfucker getting up and pointing the finger saying that's the chick. You know, I mean, even insinuating that that's the chick, or, you know what I'm saying? And then, like I said earlier, going so far as she did the interview, but then she began to post what looked like to me evidence of some sort in her mind, you know, or, you know, on her behalf about what she's saying in the video. And I'm like, wow, is this shit for real? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is going on? Are you actively trying to open an investigation, or are you trying to get someone harmed? You know what I'm saying? Because the interview is just that. But then for you to go and take to your own page and go to posting more intimate details, like the DM messages back and forth between you and the individual you done private spiritual work for, is beginning to look shaky and
oh no, Miss Arm. She actually said my name. She said Cherry Luxur. And as soon as I saw the picture of who was involved, I knew what it was about. Because shortly after she told me the whole thing about her supposedly being the person to marry him, I cut all contact with her. I blocked her on every platform. And it was because she had been lying to me the whole time, taking my money with those readings, telling me that I was the person going to have a personal connection with him, and then turned around and told me she was going to marry him. Well, if you really believed that, why would you bother? There was a girl, I'm going to tell you something. There was a girl who came to me for a reading, and they mentioned Albert's name. I told the girl, I can't take this reading because I'm not going to do to you what someone else did to me. I have that email as well. And I would never reveal the rest of what I told her, because that would make me just as bad as her ass. But trust, there are hints and clues all around my page that give indication that this is not the first time I've said these things. So I didn't just come up with this story because now Poe is gone. I've been saying these things. I just said them to who I thought were the correct people to say them to. And here we are, me being accused of potentially setting him up, which would defeat the entire purpose of what I was trying to do. I was still holding out hope that we would be able to fix the situation.
To everyone in the chat that's saying she could have prevented it, I disagree with you, and not just because I'm fond of the woman across the screen, but because I know Poe is Poe. She could have told him. I asked her why she didn't tell Poe about the why you didn't tell him this and that and other, but he probably would have looked at her like she was fucking crazy or something, or he probably would have internalized it and just kept it moving, because nothing really, shit didn't bother him like that. So for y'all to figure that she would have had to been very, very influential over him at that point for her to tell him, hey, I got a reading that something's going to happen to you, and I don't know when, even if it was a year later. You know what I'm saying? Why would he take it into account? She said within the video that he had began to ghost her. He was playing her to the left for a second, for whatever reason, because the people around him was telling him to, basically. So I don't agree with that theory that she could have prevented it in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Had you ever done a reading for Poe?
No, I hadn't even. We were going back and forth, just trying to get him to keep the promises that he was making. I told y'all in that video, the first two times, that he promised to meet me, he ghosted me. It was not until the third time, right, after us going back and forth, that he finally decided to come out and meet me. And shortly thereafter, he started to act a little funny, and I noticed it. And what I said, if you go and you watch that video again, I decided to pull out because I knew, and this is what I meant, by there was a clip that was missing.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
knew that man would have ended up walking all over me if I had continued to talk to him as he was dismissing me. So in September of 2020, I backed off the whole thing. So you mean to tell me between September 2020 and now we are in November 2021, you never thought to say anything about this until now? But you predicted this before his death? Come on, y'all. Come on.
I agree. The same could be said for her. Why wouldn't she tell Randy if she had a connection with him? Then that means the money that she said that he supposedly owed her, because in the same video she said she paid him for a feature that he never gave her twice. And I guess she was mad because he owed her money, or he was mad, whatever the fuck ever. I don't know. But I guess that would be the reason that she wouldn't have. And I guess, I don't know. I'm just speculating here, everyone. But she did say that Randy would be Paparazzi Poe. She paid him for a feature somewhere along the line that he never did for or whatnot. So they lost connection. They lost their connection that way. So I don't know. That's very, very interesting both ways. Now, I have a question that I want to ask you personally.
Okay.
Before we go any further. Do you know the woman that was putting crazy shit on Lipstick Alley about Poe?
Oh, the one about the relationship that she had with him? I didn't know her, but I did see the post. I thought it was kind of odd, but as I started reading what some of the stuff that she said, I did notice that it was some of the same patterns that I had seen before I walked away from the situation. So I know some of it was probably true, but if you notice, she never mentioned anything that she did. She only said what he did, right? So I never wanted to go on and talk about what was happening as far as Poe Mafia and why I backed off the page, because I had plenty of people who were still asking me what happened to the page. But just to avoid negatively talking about him or anybody misunderstanding what I was saying about him or what happened during that time, I avoided talking about it altogether. And I still would not have said anything had this not happened. It was never my goal to spread the business out there. So when I saw her posting that stuff, I said, that's interesting. I don't know whether or not she was talking to him or not. I don't know that lady from a can of paint.
Alpo asked me if it was you.
No.
That's why I asked you that question.
Because I definitely went.
Pardon self. Go right ahead.
No, I was just saying I definitely went because I noticed somebody mentioned my page, and I went on there and I made a response to it. And I let them know that wasn't me. I don't know who that girl is. I don't know where she got that story from. I have no clue. But there have been plenty of other women who have hit me in my DMs, giving me that exact same story. Some of them, probably still circulate your page. But because I have these women blocked, I can't see them anymore.
I don't pay him any attention, so I don't know. But at the same time, he was convinced at one point that indeed you were the person on Lipstick Alley putting that information out, and him and I had a conversation, and we came to an understanding because I didn't believe it was you, and we had a conversation. Let's just say that, and in the end of that conversation, we came to a conclusion that it must have been someone else. or whatnot. But I began to think after that, why would he think that? And in the video, you cleared that up. Like you say, you never even slept with him or whatnot. The woman on Lipstick Alley is clearly talking about a physical sexual relationship and even living with him and this and that and the other blase split.
And she said she met him in June.
In June.
It was June of that year she said she met him. Now I understand where maybe, if it's true, maybe where some of that attention was going. I don't know, y'all. I never lived with him. So I can't tell that story. I can't tell that story.
Okay. Well, I didn't mean to blindside you, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask the hard questions.
Yeah. No, I get it. 100%. But the way she was talking and the way I talk online don't match up.
Someone had a good question in this. Someone had a very good question. No, they didn't. They had a comment. Someone said something like she still should have tried to give him a heads up. What do you think about that?
That Mary should have gave him a heads up?
Either or. I believe he was speaking to you because, you know, of course, me and you are speaking. But
I should have given him a heads up about what, though?
I mean, and I don't understand. You know what? I do understand the question, but I don't because I overstand it. Listen, I forget your name. I just remember the question. I apologize for that. I believe you're from across the pond, from Scotland. Dank 420. My guy, you think Poe didn't come home knowing he had niggas that wanted to harm him? Like saying somebody could do something to you is probably like every other day shit once he got back to being Alpo and not Abraham. So, you know, giving him a heads up is just everyday people shit for a man like Poe. Be careful. Such and such might happen. This and that and the other. Evidently, he didn't care too much about that shit because Poe was out in public. You know what I'm saying? So I understand the question, but you got to overstand. Like I say, Poe is who he is. We all saw that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been pulling up, taking pictures with niggas and shaking hands.
I have something I want to say. Wouldn't I have come out with my story if this was just about clout chasing? Wouldn't I have told this story before? I did not tell this story because there was no need to do all of that. I was still having text messages back and forth between me and him. There was no need to involve the public in those conversations. So I never took that approach. Again, that contradicted everything that I had been working on, trying not to paint a negative picture of him online. That was the whole point of Poe Mafia, right? So
absolutely.
Clearly, I'm only speaking on this now because of the type of accusation she just made. She just said, I tried to set him up. So now I don't have a choice but to tell my side of the story. Otherwise, y'all wouldn't know nothing about what occurred between me and him. That shit would have never came out. There was only a couple of people who I've had conversations with about what was going on in the background. And it would never have reached y'all. I never wanted to tell this story. Never wanted to have to. Because I didn't want anyone to misunderstand it or misunderstand what I was saying. I still 100% got love for him. And I think he had a gift. I think he could have been bigger than he was in the 80s, but for something completely different than the drug game. I just happen to believe something much more positive could have came out of the situation. So take it for what it is, y'all. Y'all pick your sides or whatever you got to do. It's all good. All I know is where I was and what I was doing on October 31st when all this news broke out. And I just find it interesting that she is just now coming out telling this story. That's all I'm saying.
Were you in love with Alberto Martinez?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I said it eventually got deeper than that. But when I first came into the situation, that was not my approach. Again, this is why, let me tell you something. If you really want to understand, you have to watch this stuff more than once. If you watch any video on any topic and you're doing real research, you have to watch it more than once. Because if you watch it once, you're gonna miss stuff. I know I said it eventually got there. I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know that it was going to kick off my spiritual awakening. That shit was painful. This is not something I play with. This is my real fucking life here. I have a child. That was my concern.
I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I was asking because
no, not you. I'm not directing it to you. I'm not directing it to you. I'm saying in general. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience.
Absolutely. In this clip, though, I'm gonna play it one more time from my bro's channel. Someone asked what video we were referring to. It's in the description box. It says BTBTV interview. Hit that link if you want to know what interview we're referring to. But in this one, she says it kind of hard too to insinuate that you'd have done anything for him. Like she was in love with him and she'd have done anything. And that's why I asked that question in particular the way I did. It was, like I said, it wasn't meant to be disrespectful. But everybody check this out. Here's another clip. Here's the same clip from Bro's channel.
Change the stuff.
Oh yeah, so I read her a couple times, and like I was saying, she confided in me, and I never came. I could tell. I'm gonna tell my story because you know, but I kept her secret. I didn't go out telling nobody that nobody knew that Alpo didn't sanction that page because everybody on the outside thought that's an official Alpo page. She ran it very well, and I would advise her behind the scenes on certain things or whatever. So what ended up happening was, like I said, this is October, like around Halloween 2020. I leveled up spiritually, you know what I'm saying? And I had got something called an EFI reading.
Yeah.
And so I was sharing with her my reading.
Yeah.
So, because she was always interested in wanting to know what was in them books.
Okay.
Okay. She had little pictures of certain things that I'm showing her inside the books. So she, you know, prior to reading, I told her, you're going to meet Alpo. And she did meet him. Okay. She posted a picture up the night she met him. So she told me she was sitting with him, was sitting with Alpo talking about me, this, that, and the third. So, so later on, when she wanted to know about the books, I just told her, said, listen, I'm on a journey to find my husband. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being guided by my books and where I'm supposed to be at. I'm being guided. And I'm just, you know, I'm watching this shit manifest. You know what I'm saying? So, that bothered Cherry because Cherry was in love with Alpo.
Okay.
Willing to do whatever, even front like this an Alpo page to get Alpo attention.
Yeah.
Get my point?
You see how she was speaking like you get what I'm saying?
I heard what she said, but here's the way you know she's lying. Because I just got finished saying I went through a whole lot of trouble to put in my bio and at the end of every post who was posting. I put how the fuck did anybody know my name if that wasn't the case? So I never made it seem like I was Poe. I never said he sanctioned the situation. I wasn't out here telling people, yeah, Poe told me to put this page up. I even said in a lot of the posts, and the funny thing is, she knows I deleted the page. So it's not even like you guys can go back and look at any of that. You would have to talk to people who were authentically following the page, who supported the page, and could tell you the way in which I would post.
What are these books she spoke of that you was trying to get into her books or trying to figure out what's in her book?
Let me tell you something. She is the one who brought up her books. And she was complaining to me that she had been trying to connect to him for a very long time. And by that point, I had already made contact with him. And at the time, I thought we were still cool. So what I told her was, you know what? I'm going to see if I can tell him about you. We never ended up getting to that conversation because once we had the meeting, there were other things that were being discussed at the time. I never asked her about what the hell was in those books. She was telling me about what was in those books. But of course, she's online right now painting this picture like and telling y'all all kinds of stories. Meanwhile, my shit has been consistent. If I was that much in love with him to the point of my own detriment, I would never have shut the page down. It would still be up today. It's not up anymore because I wasn't willing to allow someone to promise that they were going to get involved and didn't, right? Or do other things, but behind the scenes, as we're having conversations, we're still talking. So if that was the case, I'd still have the page up right now. Her connection with him didn't bother me. It was the fact that she couldn't reach him. And she was mad that I did. And if y'all don't see that, I don't know what to tell you.
One thing I caught on Mary was her saying that she advised you in certain ways about the page. So if you're watching Mary, making that statement makes you complicit in what was going on. If the stuff that you're saying you didn't like because you made it seem as if she ran the page away, as if people didn't know it wasn't Alpo and this and the other, as if she was frauding or being fraudulent. But if you advised her behind the scenes, as you did say in the clip that I just played, that would make you complicit unless you were telling her not to do so. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I did catch. Now, did she in fact advise you on certain things while you were running the page?
First of all, that conversation did not happen. We never had a conversation at that point about whether or not Poe had sanctioned the page, and that's why I started it. I told her what my actual story was, that I was inspired to start the page and that I felt a spiritual presence with me every time that I would do any research on him. And all I asked her about was that, who is this presence that I was feeling at the time? That's what made me seek out a tarot reading to begin with. I never told her that he sanctioned the page, and she ain't never said to me anything about not doing that. But see, all of this is he say, she say, because she knows there's no actual concrete proof either way, other than the fact that I have been consistent with my story. I shut down the page because I knew I was worth more than the runaround situation that me and him were going through. But we were still talking sporadically throughout 2021. So
how many death threats did you get behind your support?
Lots of them. Lots of them. But there was one in particular that was put on audio because the person found my number on Facebook somehow. And they left a message. And even when it happened, I went to her and I said, something's wrong with this picture. Why would this person come and leave this message like this with their actual phone number that could be rerouted back to them? Why would they do that? So I got lots of death threats. That shit wasn't easy. Building that page wasn't easy. I argued a lot with folks, whether there was a large audience around or not. I was one of the few people on Instagram that was willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a long track record of that.
The God said, sounds like the young lady on Divine's platform practices hoodoo, which is slight, what do you say, variation of voodoo. Something like that, God. I'll speak to you behind the scenes, you know, but you hitting some nails. You got your hammer out. King of New Jersey, BTB TV. Born Divine, Almighty Allah. What did she tell you weeks ago? You made a comment earlier and I pinned it to make sure I remember it. I capped it. You said, she told me weeks ago. What did she tell you weeks ago about the conversation that they had or about the situation that was going on? Make that plain for me, brother, if you don't mind. And while you do that, I want to get into this other clip again. And while I have Cherry's audio on the screen well or whatnot, so she can kind of explain what's going on in this video, because this is one of the videos that I guess she posted as some sort of evidence as to the situation she was speaking on in the clip you guys just watched, probably like 3 or 4 hours ago now or whatnot.
But I kind of already talked about that.
You talking about
the clip that she ended up posting on her page? I stated that she had the audio because I sent it to her. I told her that I don't know why it's not there, but I told her everything that happened. And her responses should prove I didn't do anything in that situation. This was a person who decided to use their free will to leave a message on a phone number they found on Facebook. It was a business line, threatening me, saying, I'll come shoot everybody up. This is what they said. And I'm like, really? Who does that? Especially when it's a number that you can trace back. It didn't make any sense. And I confided in her because I thought she was a friend.
Absolutely. Okay, lastly, I heard rumor that they supposed to have caught somebody for this today, but I only saw it on fucking YouTube channel, so I paid no mind to it. I didn't see any breaking news anywhere or whatnot. Have you seen or heard anything like that?
I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Today, I heard news that they may have caught someone for this. And there were a few channels covering it on YouTube, but I hadn't seen any news clips or anything like that. You know, you being so close to the situation, have you heard or seen any news or anything like that?
No, because I'm still questioning that whether or not he's even dead. I don't believe he's dead. That whole situation, that whole scene, that whole setup looked funky from the moment they started talking about it. And I'm like, all of this time, ain't nobody ever been bold enough to just walk up on that man. From what I'm hearing from a lot of people who actually walked the streets with him, folks would talk shit about him behind his back, and then when they would walk up on him, be nice and respectful as shit. Complete 180 in attitude. That he would be in different places in Harlem, and folks that had talked mess about him wouldn't even approach him. They would stand there looking at him like a fan, like everybody else. So it was hard for me to believe that. Then I'm looking at the situation and I'm like, but wait a minute. Where's the blood? Why are the shots so close together? This looks like a professional hit. And then I'm going and I'm looking at different family members and friends and folks that were posting a lot about him when I had my page up and up until a certain point this year, and slowed down significantly prior to him passing. So I'm like, wait a minute, if he's really gone, wouldn't these folks have said certain things by now? So I'm catching all of this. I'm observing all of this because in order for me to have the page, I had to do a lot of research on the folks that surrounded him. So as I'm looking at folks, I'm like, wait a minute, something ain't right here. And then for this chick to turn around and then say, I set him up, that was amazing. If she really believed that, then why does she continue to give me readings? If she had that in her quote unquote books already, why would she take the money for any readings from me? Why would she bother? And if that was her husband and she had some level of loyalty to him, Wouldn't she have refused to do readings for me? To tell me about that?
How does one?
It just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. Oh, it just doesn't make sense.
Do you think maybe she was trying to stay close to you? Because as bro put across the screen that she told him weeks ago that he would be set up by a woman that he knew or whatnot. I'm gonna try to find that comment again or whatnot. But do you think she was trying to stay close to you because of her liking this for him and wanting to marry him or whatnot and thinking that you would potentially do something to harm him? Do you think that could be a reason?
You know something? Oh, I have no idea. I can't even rationalize how she has behaved since I cut the situation off. All I know is I blocked her after she said something about marrying him because I realized in that moment that she was taking my money for readings, filling my head up with air, right? Telling me about a personal relationship when she really believed that she was connected to him. So I didn't understand it and I cut her off because of it. That was towards the end of 2020. I have not spoken to that woman since then. So all this shit is brand new to me.
Okay. How does one continue to read you without, I mean, what is it? Once you connected to the energy, you can continue, or is that is that practicing? Without revealing too much, because I don't know how the tarot card thing goes or whatnot. But is that dark magic to continue to read someone without their permission or without or is that just something that happens once you get the energy from the person you're reading?
Okay, let me say it like this. When you do a reading, right, for somebody, you may pick up on it's all energy. It's all energy that you're picking up. So it may be the energy of the person that you're reading for, but it could also be the energy of the people around them. So the people around them's story could be coming up in a reading, not just the person who's inquiring, right?
Absolutely.
In this particular case, it's a matter of ethics, not necessarily dark magic in terms of doing a reading on somebody. If you know you do not have a good relationship with someone anymore, then you shouldn't be doing readings on them. And I had already blocked her and cut her off. We were not in communication with one another for the entirety of this year. Okay, we are now at the end of the year. There were plenty of times where I've given people readings or people have done readings for me, and they tapped into a person that was next to me or another person in my household or another situation. Those type of things can happen because it's all energy. But clearly, that had a lot to do with the fact that she was upset. I stopped speaking to her. And I was the one that was talking to Albert, not her. Like I said, that connection dropped in my lap. I didn't ask anybody for his information. Someone literally came to me that I was connected to and blessed me with his number and said, reach out. And that's what I did. I would have never gotten to the point of having a picture with him if he wasn't okay with that situation.
You read me, if you've read me. So do you feel shit off of me sometimes? Or I know you tapped into I know what we went through. So I'm not even going to say that. So I know what you were saying when you say sometimes people tap into stuff around you and not just yourself. I experienced that with you personally. So in knowing that, do you get shit off of me? Because I mean, you be in the chat and everything. So we interact. It's kind of an interaction with me and you almost every day if I'm on screen or sometimes maybe on Instagram or whatnot. So do you sometimes get shit like that from me?
Oh, I'm not asking questions that would have your energy come up. The
Oh,
question
so you have to act. It's not intuitive. I'm thinking it's kind of like, psychic empath shit. Like, you may just get something because of the reading that you've done and the energy you've connected to. Sometimes something may just come to you. It doesn't work like that.
You could. That can happen. 100% can happen. But in my case, I haven't been asking any questions around you necessarily. So I did intuitively know you were on a spiritual journey yourself, if that's what you want to say. But that's something I sensed just from seeing your own growth throughout your page. That wasn't something I needed a card for.
Oh no, I was just asking in general because I spoke to you. I told you I had been read once or twice before, but I never really believed in the people that did it because they, it didn't hit no nails on no head. It was kind of like 20 questions more so than the reading. But when you asked the one question and came back with what you came with, I knew it was real, and I began to let other people know as well. And we've had a relationship for quite some time. So, like I said, when this whole shit came about, it's like, nah, she didn't do that. No, I mean, it was, like I said, fuck a hard pill to swallow. I was mad at first. I ain't gonna lie. Your first impression is to get mad. Then I was shocked. Then you have to analyze this shit before you know what I'm saying? You go to speak about it or talk to anybody about it. I said, nah, that's not her. She didn't do that. And we got to get ahead of it before it spread like wildfire. So I really, really appreciate you being willing to come out and even talk about this, making a video about it and everything else, because as I said in the beginning, this was fucked up. I don't speak to Spicker. She used to follow me or whatnot. We spoke a few times back and forth and everything. Like you said, ethically, this was fucked up for her to release this type of information and be sending it out and even putting it online or whatnot, and even saying this type of thing at such a critical time, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of weird, and it seems kind of devious at the same time to me. So I don't know.
And then you know what else I'm starting to notice? Every time that you've had a live, and now I do miss some. I miss some of your lives, but I've been here. My ass been here.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain individuals who are in the chat right now who I ain't never seen when I've been here.
Absolutely.
So what does that tell you? There got to be something else going on here. All of a sudden now, this is how y'all feeling? I've been in this chat every time he goes on live, except for a couple of times where I had to do shit for my own page.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody ever confront me about potentially coming sideways or perhaps being only about the money and all of that stuff. Because if that was the case, the page would still be here. I shut it down for a reason. So I don't know even where some of these individuals are coming from, to be quite honest with you. And I wouldn't be surprised, again, if this was an attempt to set me up.
I've said that too. That's why I'm glad you came out to get ahead of it. And
you know something?
Folks,
if you were really riding for Poe, you would have been here in O's chat all the other times he been talking about him. You decide to come today after this chick decides to say whatever she needed to say. I ain't never seen you before, bruh. So
make it plain, Cherry. Who you talking about? TT?
I'm talking about Scottish Dank 420. I've never seen him. He's probably been here at one point or another, but I've never seen him. And I've been here. I've been in these chats.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He done been around. He from across the pond or whatnot. But that's how I go, Cherry. You got to have a thick skin on here because people going to say what they're going to say. You going to have to not pay attention to some of them sometimes. That's what I do, or go off. You feel me? Like you just did.
I said what I said to point out the fact that all of a sudden, it's almost like, when you decide to zero in on somebody because they're doing fuck shit, and then all of a sudden there are random folks that you ain't never seen before popping up in your chat under these fictitious names and all kinds of shit. And it's because those individuals know you about to spit truth and they want to come and confuse your audience. And we, as the moderators, will get rid of their asses real quick. And I'm always one of them. So I ain't never seen some of these folks. So that should tell you something else. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with what you're saying, and I
Queen
absolutely know what
Callie,
you're saying.
Queen Callie, I have seen you before. This is not applied to you. I'm talking about a couple of other people who have something to say. I've talked to you before. This ain't about you.
Good morning, Tosh. I appreciate y'all coming out. So in ending, because you know what I'm saying, we on 2 hours now. I don't want to hold you up no longer than you need to be held up, and we don't want to be the dead horse. No pun intended. Y'all know I wouldn't do that. But I'm talking about the topic, that is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In closing, because I know you're not going to address this situation, and if you do, it'll probably on your page or whatnot. So she wasn't saying anything. You didn't watch her video, so there's really no reason for me to ask that question. It was really no reason for me to ask that question. Do you have anything to say in closing, Sherry?
Y'all have to use your third eye right now on this situation. And if you feel like you leaning on the other side, so be it. God bless you. But I know I check out. So I ain't sweating this shit. I said what I said. There's a reason why I came on O's channel. This is where I've been. This is where I'm motherfucking gonna be. Umbrella gang.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not having Spick on my channel, bro. You said she willing to come on and debate. I'm not having her on my channel. I think that was kind of disrespectful what she did. And as you can see, I'm riding with the woman across the screen from me. So y'all can do y'all thing over there if y'all do anything else. And as she said, umbrella gang in this thing. We'll do our thing where we at if we need to do anything else. But I believe she's addressed this situation in total, in whole, and honestly as anybody could, without flinching. Every question I've asked, everything that's come through the chat that has been respectable, that she's seen, at least she has addressed. So I don't think there's anything else we can ask from this woman at this particular point. Did you guys have any questions before we get out of here? What is it, 2:02? About three more minutes or so. Any questions? Any respectful questions, that is? You are absolutely welcome. Hey, I know you've been around, homeboy. She just ain't seen you. I know you've been around. You from across the pond. You know, I know. I be telling you to tell your friends about me. You know what I'm saying? But she hasn't seen you before. And as she probably hasn't seen a whole bunch of names that's in here tonight. That happens a lot. If you wouldn't understand, shit slips by me so much, I have to go back and rewatch these videos for a second or whatnot to see who was actually in there and interacting and what was going on. She say, "Oh, you from the east side? I see you." Without question. You already know. What part of Brooklyn? You got to make that a little bit plainer, bro. Who's in Brooklyn? Who said they was in Brooklyn? Straight Bo say, "I think he alive." I've heard. What do you think about all this conspiracy theories? That's one thing I will say, because you are a conspiracy theory as well. You said you don't believe he's dead. Well, what do you believe happened? Because I've heard everything from the government took him back and they're going to rearrange his face and now he's going to look like Keith Sweat and a whole bunch of different shit to, he was helping them get human traffickers off the street and some shit. And they just got him before somebody else got to him because it was a large hit on him. What do you think, Cherry?
I'm sorry. Oh, I was paying attention to what was being said in the chat, trying to read. Because I'm so used to being in the chat. That's my point. I don't normally come on here. Oh, come on now. You asked me to come on here before. We had a brief conversation about it, and I never actually did it because I didn't have anything to say at that point. I didn't want to say what was actually going on in the backdrop. That was nobody's business. But now she didn't put shit out there. I don't have a choice but to address it because I still would not have addressed it. But it's all good. It's all good. I'm good.
No,
I know what I was. I know what I did and I know what I didn't do. So
no, I don't mean surrounding you, Cherry. I mean about Poe. Because you said you don't believe he's dead. Now I've heard a bunch of conspiracy theories surrounding him and whether or not he is still alive is what I was saying to you, and how it may have happened. Like people, like the comment across the screen, the FBI pulled them back in.
they got a video out there of supposedly pulling him out the truck. Now, this was a point someone else made to me that was interesting. There's a lot of other kingpins who passed. They ain't have no problem showing their bodies. If this video was available, why didn't they show it on the news? Why didn't they reveal that? Why wasn't that actually posted as a regular video on YouTube? It was a video of a video. It wasn't even an original upload. And I looked at that video. Yeah, it mimicked his body, but the way they pulled him out, it just did not look real. And there have been a lot of people posting videos saying to keep your eye open because something ain't right here. I'm not the only one saying this. I don't believe he's dead. But as of right now, because that's what's out there, I have to go with what's being said.
I think the cops killed him, if anything, and I ain't saying it like that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the police department. But them motherfuckers, I saw a video, I believe it's on B Stinger shit. Hey, and B Stinger, if you watching this shit, I got your comment, dog. We're gonna discuss that shit tomorrow. But B Stinger put the video out of him getting pulled out of the truck supposedly, and they gave him chest compressions. Why do you give chest compressions to a motherfucker that you say just got shot 5 times in the chest? That shit just don't make sense to me like that. It's like you killing him. Like shit, it seemed like blood just be pumping out of him, gushing out of him. So I do understand where everybody is saying, where's the blood, or whatnot. So I don't know, it's kind of strange.
But I could have gave him a heads up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't give a guy that just got shot 5 times. I don't know. I'm not a nurse or EMS or anything like that, but it just doesn't seem like, it seemed like you'd be trying to put something over it so he doesn't bleed out until you get him to the EMS or whatnot, instead of giving him chest compressions. You know what I mean? I don't know.
But I could have told him, see, somebody just said maybe they misunderstood something, but I could have gave them a heads up about what? I told Poe what the vision was that I was given. I didn't tell him what anybody else said. I told him the vision that was given to me, the intuitive message that I didn't know was intuitive at that time. I didn't become aware of what this was until November, after I stopped talking to him. But I did tell him what the vision was. I made that clear. That was what I was trying to stress to him the whole time. And unfortunately, he couldn't see it. But I also understand he was preoccupied with a whole lot of other stuff that was going on around him. A lot of folks who were pulling him this way and that way. And man, if I got into some of that stuff, I'd really have some folks after me.
Because a lot of people believe he just left Maine. How long has he been out of Maine? I know he's been out of Maine for quite some time. They think because they saw that U-Haul there that he just moved from that spot that everybody's been showing.
But here's the thing that doesn't make sense to me. In his interviews that are all over the internet, his audio interviews, he talks about having a place set up, right? And perhaps not really living there. Perhaps he did have to be there for a certain period of time. Now, this was the other thing that tripped me out. Does anybody have the actual neighbors on video? Because the news, under normal circumstances, would show who's talking about him, who's saying what type of person he was, or at least if they don't want to be revealed, they would block their face out right? Or make them dark and allow them to tell their story. Something is off here. They're not necessarily behaving the way they would normally do when they tell a story like this. That's all I'm saying. If you look at it, it's not the same as they have done normally. And when shit gets out of whack like that, something is up.
Wow, that's a great comment, Straight Bo. She said, why y'all think he was still going back to Maine? He liked it. He was torn between the whole celebrity stuff and finally being normal. That's an interesting comment. That's a very, very interesting comment. It kind of plays into what Cherry just said as well. I want to read this comment to you, Cherry. Scottish Dank 420 says, fair play then. I apologize. Thanks for taking time to break it down for me to understand, Cherry.
I appreciate that. Look, there's no love lost for anybody. Even Queen Kelly. You can hate me. It don't matter. You know, I love everybody. I do. Genuinely. If you have a real conversation with me, you would understand who I am. If you understand yourself, then you would really understand who I am. Because I have the same struggles everybody else does. It ain't no love lost. If you believe one side or the other, that's on you. You have that right to choose that. I don't attempt to take anybody's free will away. You can do what you want, believe what you want, say what you want. But so do I. I have the same rights. So we have this conversation and this dialogue, and I'm going to tell you my side of the story. I ain't hiding. That's my real face up there. If they want to come find my ass, they can come find my ass right now. So it is what it is. I just got to hope that my integrity throughout this time has proven itself to the people who actually count. And that's all
Absolutely. I can. Pardon self. I was just saying absolutely. Well, all right, folks. That's our good show for the night. And Retro did say they had the neighbors on what you call it. I get Retro. Did you see the neighbors personally? Because that I trust his word. He ain't gonna cap for no rapping. But J Money say he staged his death. Justice Allah say he don't believe he did neither. He say he believe he faked his death on some Demetrius Holloway shit, which could be true. You know, if so, he probably sitting back laughing at all this shit. Po, if you out there watching Alpoology, tap in, my nigga. Let me know. You know I can keep a secret. Like,
you know something? Oh, I am so done. Oh my God. And the funny thing is, let me tell you, oh, shit. Listen, I love that man. That's all I gotta say. I do. I do. And if we were together, trust me, we'd be doing something ain't for TV, ain't for YouTube, ain't for Instagram, because I never got a chance to do that shit. After all of the time that I put in, I didn't even get a chance to get a taste of what that shit was like, okay? So, please, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say next. Like I was completely unprepared for that shit right there. So, you know, I don't even have a commercial set up.
All my women in here know exactly what I'm saying. Okay. Whatever.
I don't know what. I haven't seen any news clips. Like I told y'all before, I didn't want to watch the shit, so I tuned out of everything. I was already tuned out of everything anyway. And I really didn't want to hear none of these fucking YouTube geeks talk about it neither, because I knew which way they was going to bring it and how they was going to bring it out. And that shit was just going to further excite the fucking rage I was in. Straight up. Like shit, I wanted to kill all them niggas. Not literally, but you know how I do. Shit, nigga gonna get bit. Mentality, you know what I mean? Talking that shit about Poe, I'm coming for you. A couple of these niggas, I just let it ride.
I'm trying to behave myself, okay? But I can't. Okay, because I still loved him. I still was attracted to him, still felt the same. Some of y'all saw how I used to get down in the comment section. Guys used to complain about the way that we would talk about him in the comment section under the post. Do y'all realize that there are men here? We used to say all kinds of stuff, okay? And we had a good time. So shit was positive. None of it was negative. That wasn't even the vibe or energy that I was on. And here's the other thing. This is just food for thought. I don't know how this fits into the scenario, but it's something to think about. I remember watching a clip of a certain individual. I'm not going to mention his name, but y'all going to know who it is if y'all really did y'all research, right? Who recited this story about watching Poe pay off an officer after a chase, right? So he had the ability to negotiate with them. And even they said they loved him. They liked him, but they still had to do their job, right? When they caught him and they brought him in, they had a can of Alpo dog food, almost as a joke, right? Because they said he was a likable character. So if he did want to set up his own death, I wouldn't not believe that he would have the ability to orchestrate that situation if he needed to pull out a favor, especially after how much he's probably had to pay off to keep them away from what he was doing. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible that he could have faked his death and got the help of the police. I don't know. And I don't know if we'll ever know at this point. All we got to do is hope. Hope some clarity comes to the situation.
Somebody in the chat said, oh, here it is on the screen. They're saying they caught Poe's killers. Yeah, we discussed that, man. Where do you, is it a video? Is it the news? Did the news report that, or did a YouTuber report that? Because I'm not interested in seeing no YouTuber until that shit is on the news in New York City, because it ain't gonna probably be in the news in Detroit. But I'm subscribed to they shit on YouTube, a few of y'all news channels or whatnot. So when that shit pop on there, I know it's for real. Or one of my people tell me they saw it. As for then, I can't give you no facts about that, Jack. Man, they hate to see a real nigga winning. Juanito, you know they hate to see a real nigga winning, doggy. You know what I'm saying? Respect, though.
Well, you know what? Oh, I want to say to you personally, and we talk about stuff all the time in the background, right? So I'll say a little extra for when we get back into our own messages, right? But generally speaking, I appreciate the fact that you came to me and allowed me to have a say in the situation instead of just making assumptions and going over my head. Because honestly, I've been rocking here for a long time at this point. And I would hope that an individual who has been seeing how I move around would have given me that opportunity. So I do appreciate what you did just now.
I appreciate that. And that's without a question. I took your back with Poe, like I told you earlier. You know what I'm saying? That just wasn't what I knew. What he explained to me and what I knew of you didn't match up. So we had to speak about that. And I believe because of the outcome that we came to the same conclusion, because you were completely unaware of the situation, correct?
I didn't know anything about that chick. I knew it was posted on Lipstick Alley because that's one of the places that I frequented when I was doing my research. So I was aware
I mean about the fact that he thought that it was you.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that. No. Because
well, that means that he didn't bring it back to you. So that means that him and I came to the correct or something, you know what I'm saying, the right conclusion. That's why I said that. You feel me?
If you look throughout the posts that I've put up on Lipstick Alley specifically, I have said, because people have asked me personal questions on there, and I said I don't need that type of attention.
Oh, I don't go on Lipstick Alley. I got people, you know, I got Team Alpo. We rock. and they put shit in my inbox. They emailed me, they put shit in my inbox on Instagram, and one day I got something, hey, you might need to ask your man Poe about this. And there was an article in Lipstick Alley with a woman detailing her time with Poe and how intimate it was and such. I then forwarded that to Poe, and he called me back and said, yeah, man, what you think about this? Who you think this is? And I said, I don't know. That's why I gave it to you. And his response was, you think it's that chick Cherry or Poe Mafia? You think it's that chick Poe Mafia? I think it's the Poe Mafia. And I told him, nah, that don't resonate with me or whatnot. And then he gave me a quick story, and I gave him a few. And like I said, being that you did not know that he thought it was you, we must have came to the same conclusion in the end.
Okay, well, let me explain what Lipstick Alley is for anybody who don't know. It just happens to be a gossip site. It started off as some kind of makeup page, and that was many, many years ago. I don't know when they changed over into being a gossip site, but they have many, many topics up there. The way that they even started having a conversation is because they were talking about his so-called relationship with Chrissy. And that's the thread that started there. Matter of fact, they've had 2 threads about that. So I definitely hit up that page because when you do a search on Google, Lipstick Alley will come up, especially when you are searching about certain types of information, because people have dropped various different things there. And the same way that Team Alpo would drop stuff on you, I had people sending me stuff too. So when things like that occurred, folks would hit my DM. And that was the other reason why I shut Poe Mafia down. Because I didn't want to get any more messages at that point. I was too much into my healing and too raw to deal with any of that at that time.
Oh, I understand. I completely understand. But from my standpoint, certain things that got very personal, or I thought that may be too personal for the internet or whatnot, I would forward to him and see if he had any knowledge of it. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's where I was coming from with it. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, well, it would have had to have been you at that point because I didn't have a page to talk about him with at that point. You know, it was already done. I was already out the game. Been out the game.
You can't tell me, even as Cherry, people weren't still trying to drop information on you because they still, as I knew who you were, you know, so that's something that doesn't make sense about the Spicker shit too. She said nobody knew who you were. I knew who you were. I ran promotion for you from fucking almost day 3 or maybe day 10 of Poe Mafia. I don't know, but I ran a promotion and I knew who you were. I knew you weren't him. So that disputes that, you know. But yeah.
You'd be surprised how much people miss. You might be constantly putting something in your comments because you know every picture that you post on Instagram has to have a caption. Well, don't have to, but you can put a caption in there. And every caption, I told who I was. You'd be surprised how many people just don't read it. They don't bother. So is that my fault or is that their fault for not reading?
I seen the chick because it's usually got a bunch of cherries and stuff. Like it goes long down the bottom. Is that what you're talking about? The caption down the bottom?
Yes, and I did that. I used that exact same method with Poe Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got tired. Matter of fact, if Randy was even willing to speak on this situation, he laughed at a post I put up. Because when I finally did post my picture on Poe Mafia, I said, so y'all motherfuckers can stop hitting me up asking me if I'm Poe. No, I'm not. I keep putting it in my bio. I keep putting it under every post and y'all keep missing it. So here's a picture of me so you can see who I am behind this page.
I can dig that.
And, didn't you post up a video that I had done under Poe Mafia name?
I did. You're absolutely correct. And it said Poe Mafia at the beginning. Yep.
Yes. So where was I hiding who I was?
You are absolutely correct.
Y'all got to think, man.
Well, I didn't have to think very hard, Cherry, because I didn't believe shit in the first place, okay?
Not you.
I'm just talking
God.
shit. I'm just talking shit, Cherry, okay?
Oh my God. Yeah, I just had somebody hit me up because of something I said, and I was like, oh my God, y'all taking everything I'm saying personal. And she was like, no, I'm just picking at you. And I said, yeah, because this shit is crazy. It is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Where we at, guys? We are at 2 hours and 24 minutes.
Ooh,
I appreciate
Jesus.
everybody that
I said, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I appreciate everybody that came out. I don't even think there could be another question that could be asked that's irrelevance about this situation at this point. He probably did read it well. Let me see. Believe none of what you hear and believe half of what you see. Absolutely. The new mayor of NYC is the police, Eric Adams. I'm from Detroit.
He said, I'm from Detroit. I don't know what you talking about.
Basically, you know. Straight Bo, what you been looking for? You know you my folks. She said, I've definitely been searching my ass off about this thread y'all talking about. What thread you talking about? The Lipstick Alley joint? Like I said, I don't frequent it. It was just placed into my inbox. I read through it because somebody told me you might want to tell your mans about this, your man Paul about this. And shit, I read through it and then I said, yeah, this shit is a little bit personal. If it's real, I want to see if he knew about it at all. And he did. All right, guys, well, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Thank you again, Miss Cherry Luxur. Anybody can catch her at Cherry Luxur on Instagram and Cherry Luxur on YouTube. And her video is also in the description box. As I said before, all you got to do is go down there, click that link, like, share, and subscribe on her channel. And you can watch the clips that we played tonight in succession. She said there was a part missing. I probably skipped some because, you know, that's why I asked you the first time you peeped. I'm like, how many did I run? How many clips I run? Because I was trying to keep it straight. I got to go back and forth from the comments to the broadcast green room and shit in order to do that shit so I can see the comments and then go hit the clip. I was trying to stay in order. So my bad if I missed the clip tonight, Cherry.
It's okay. Like I said, you know, it is what it is. You know, I said what I had to say. The video is up there. I ain't hiding it. At this point, it is what it is. I can't do nothing about what she's choosing to say about me. All I could do is, again, hope my integrity throughout this time stands up.
Well, you ain't got nothing to worry about my way. Just know that. I can vouch. You know, and I don't do that. I don't vouch for many, but I vouch for Cherry. I vouch for Cherry. And it ain't hard to do. Put it like that. All right, good folks. The young goat head is signing out.
Peace out.
I can't go yet. Yep, there we go. Bang.
Detroit. That nigga ain't never take nothing. Detroit, I ain't never have nobody take nothing from me. I can promise you. You get a nigga talking about he took something from me. You gotta tell him, hold on, pause. Let me do the three-way right now because I'm about to call Poe right now.
Yo, Poe made me a young goat head, nigga. What you know about it, dog? Shout out to the guys in the earths out there, man. I'm a young goat head, nigga. Who you know do it like me, man? I had to pat myself on the fucking back. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to me, man.